Good morning. Time is now 9:30 a.m. Today's date is September 19, 2023. This is the time and place for regularly scheduled business meeting of the Montana Public Service Commission. I call this meeting to order. Would my colleagues please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, thank you, colleagues. I would note for the record that Commissioner Pinocci, myself, Vice President Fielder, and Commissioner Bukacek are present in the Bollinger Room this morning. Commissioner O'Donnell is excused today. We do have quorum. All right, it's time and place for public comment. The Montana Public Service Commission welcomes public comment on any matter that is contained on today's agenda or on any matter within the jurisdiction of the Montana Public Service Commission. Are there any public commenters in the room? Any public commenters in the room? Seeing none. Any public commenters online? I'm told there isn't, so no public comment this morning. There are no changes to our agenda this morning, so let's roll right into our action items. Action item number 1 is approval of the commission minutes for the week of September 12, 2023. Vice President Fielder.
Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes of September 12th, 2023.
Is there a second?
A second.
Commissioner Bukacek has seconded. A motion second. Discussion, changes, revisions to the draft minutes of September 12, 2023. Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the commission minutes for the week of September 12, 2023 as drafted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, minutes are adopted unanimously. All right, let's move on to the work session items. Work session item number 1 is a commission initiated matter. This is a fiscal year 2024 budget change document, also known as a BCD. We're here to act on approval to approve a BCD for the fiscal year 2023 carry forward budget authority. Stacy. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. President, commissioners. So the first BCD is for the carry forward, and that is whenever we have any remaining authority in the prior fiscal year, we can request to carry forward 30% of that remaining budget authority. So that's our carry forward, and what we request this fiscal year from last year can be spent this year as well as next year. At the end of fiscal year 2023, the PSC had approximately 170,000 of a remaining authority in the state special revenue fund, and will be able to carry forward 30% or approximately 51,000 of that. We can then use that in this fiscal year or next. I'm requesting that the carry forward be split between operating and personal services budgets. Our operating budget appears to be sufficient in this biennium, and having some of that budget in personal services will help cover the vacancy savings decrease that was imposed on our agency during the last session.
All right, is there a motion, Vice President Fielder?
Mr. President, I move to approve the BCD for fiscal year 2023 carry forward as proposed by staff.
All right, and I'll second. So we have a motion and second. Discussion. Vice President Fielder.
Mr. President, just doing some simple math here, it appears that we have $120,000 of unused funding then, that we had 170,000. We're carrying forward 51,000, correct? So there's 119,000 left.
Correct.
And what happens with that?
That balance reverts to, just reverts and is gone forever.
So it's funds that the ratepayer does not have to pay for the department, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you tell me, is that money already assessed on the ratepayer, or is that money that will not be assessed in the future on the ratepayer?
That was assessed on the ratepayer during fiscal year 23. So that based on our appropriations, that was assessed then. And then because that was, then the rate will be assessed again and was assessed in 24. And so it's always taken into consideration, while it may not be reduced by any budget that wasn't used, any cash that was allocated to the agency based on that budget will be reused in the next upcoming. So it would over time reduce the rate for that amount.
Okay, Mr. President, I'm a little unclear. So when would the ratepayer notice a reduction in that's commensurate with this $119,000 that the agency was able to save?
I doubt that the ratepayer will notice this, but it would be part of the cash that we received in fiscal year 23. And that cash balance has already been taken into consideration for the October period, starting this October 1st and moving forward for the next year. So the public entities will have a reduction based on that upcoming October through that period.
Okay,
October to December.
thank you. That's all, Mr. President. Nice to see that the agency's been able to operate under budget. Appreciate that. Appreciate the efforts of the staff to run a tight ship.
Additional discussion? Additional discussion? I would echo the statement that was made by Vice President Fielder. I think the fact that the agency operated under budget for the last fiscal year shows that the agency is operating in a prudent and responsible manner for the ratepayers of the state of Montana. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Vice President's motion to adopt the BCD signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries. Stacy?
I also have a request to approve a BCD for House Bill 10 authority. This is a joint BCD with the Department of Administration, and it will move appropriation authority that we were granted during the 2023 session into our state special revenue fund, into our budget. House Bill 10 is the long-term IT project ready, and this authority will pay for our project as well as our project manager. It is restricted to those items, so if we have anything left over at the end, that would be considered contingency, and we would not be able to spend that on regular operating for the agency. We received authority of about 1.5 million during the last session, and that's my request is to approve that I be able to do that move from the Department of Administration into our budget.
Is there a motion, Vice President Fielder?
Mr. President, I move that we approve staff's recommendation regarding the House Bill 10 BCD with the Department of Administration.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Discussion, Vice President Fielder?
Mr. President, just for the commission's edification, I'm pleased to report that the READY project is continuing to move ahead on schedule and within budget. So at the moment, all is well, and we're projecting to complete within budget by the end of this year. And hopefully we will actually be able to come in under budget. It's looking pretty good right now. So thank you.
Additional discussion? Question for you, Stacy, just for the public enlightenment, really. So it's my understanding that previous BCD that we approved relates to our appropriation and budget authority given by the legislature through the regular budget process, correct?
That's correct. That authority was given to us through the legislature through House Bill 2.
Okay, and then this BCD relates to House Bill 10, correct?
Correct.
And House Bill 10, as I understand it, is essentially the projects
Yes,
Bill?
this bill is for long-term capital projects and IT projects.
And so it's my understanding that we were given authority by the legislature through House Bill 10 for about 1.5 million to, as the vice president stated, to finish or fund our Ready project, correct?
Correct.
And so the process that we're working through right now is that that's not a direct appropriation, as I understand it, from the legislature to us, but we work through the Department of Administration, correct?
That is correct.
And so what we're doing is that because the vice president has done such good work in getting our Ready project underway and operating and frankly on schedule, we are now in a position to ask for the Department of Administration to give us the appropriations authority and funding for this project at this time.
Yes, we are.
Right. Thank you. Vice President Field.
Mr. President, thank you for the line of questioning and clarification. One additional detail is that the House Bill 10 transfer is subject to the state CIO signing off on our agency's system security plan, which staff worked very hard with SITSD to complete. And that security plan has been submitted for the CIO's approval as of last week. And hopefully he will be able to sign off on that shortly. But House Bill 10 had a requirement in it that we had to have a security plan in place before House Bill 10 funds could be utilized. So that's the one last step besides doing the BCD that we're waiting for this funding.
I would also note, following up on the vice president's comments, that the Ready project was a project that was taken under and done at the direction of all 5 commissioners, and it was contemplated about 2 years ago by the commission in order to improve the services the commission provides to those who practice, if you will, or regulated by the commission. For those that have regularly appeared before the commission, they know that our previous system was inadequate in function and needed to be improved. We undertook this project with the approval and the collaboration of the legislature during the 2021 session. And we are now seeing it through to completion on time at the end of this year, 2023. So the public will find, I think, that this agency has improved not only communications with the public, but services provided to it through this system. And again, I commend Vice President Fielder for her leadership on this project. Additional discussion? Commissioner Bukacek?
I'm exceedingly fortunate that I came in when most of this work had already been done. So I just wanted to thank the staff, and thank Vice President Fielder for her good work, great work.
Additional discussion?
I've got to add one more thing, Mr. President. Since the thanks are going around, I think it's imperative for the commission to be aware that the staff is working very hard to make Ready what it is, to make it work. They are doing the yeoman's work on this project. I have oversight and I'm helping and I'm supporting. And I think I had an integral role in helping achieve the funding for it and bring in a good team of contractors to implement, but staff is doing the really heavy lifting with making sure that our new Ready system will be a very good, highly functioning system configured for the needs of our agency, every aspect of our agency, as well as really positive public interaction. So I think the key people on our staff need to be commended for that. And I know that Lucas Hamilton, Tina Shorten, and Terrence Slayton in particular have put a tremendous amount of effort into it. And I know that several other staff, including our chief regulator and many other people in the department, have put in substantial time to it. So the real work has been done by our staff and our contractors, and I really appreciate all of them. They're working very, very well together. It's been a model project. It's just been an excellent project for us. We picked the right contractor. The commission made a good decision picking the proper and appropriate vendors for this, and staff has really taken advantage of their expertise. And I think the errors that happened with the past project were a very important lesson that have helped us understand how important it is for us to be all hands on deck and involved in having our hands in the design of this new system, so that it's once the vendors are done, we are left with a product that's going to be really, really a great product for the agency and the public. So I thank them, and I hope you understand that it's taken a tremendous amount of staff time, and that's why some other things have fallen by the wayside, or maybe not gone as fast and as quickly as normally staff's able to turn them out, because they are spending a significant amount of time making ready work.
All right. Thank you, Vice President Fielder. Additional discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the Vice President's motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries. All right, let's move on to work session item number 2. This is also a commission initiated matter. This is our fiscal year 2024 budget approval. We're here to act on approving the fiscal year 2024 budget and travel silos. Stacy.
This is a request to approve the fiscal year 2024 budget, including those silos. The budget report that you have lists out the separate categories by type, and they're comprised of House Bill 2 budget authority for personal services, operating and debt service, restricted House Bill 2 authority, and House Bill 10 authority for the Ready project, and the fiscal year 2022 carry forward authority. It does not include the fiscal year 2023 carry forward that we just approved. The projected costs are preliminary and will change and be updated as the year progresses and to reflect any future commission projects. At the time this was prepared, the projected surplus for regular non-restricted budget is approximately $420,000. The agency travel budgets for fiscal year 24 have separate silos for each commissioner, staff, in and out of state, field staff, and pipeline safety. Commissioner budgets are equal at $12,000 and also include a carry forward amount of 30% of the remaining individual travel budget from the prior fiscal year 2023.
Thank you, Stacy. Is there a motion? Vice President Fielder?
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the commission approve the fiscal year 2024 budget and travel silos as presented by staff.
Is there a second?
A second?
Commissioner Bukacek has seconded. Discussion? Vice President Fielder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate the work of Ms. Lischauer on this, and President himself in helping the agency to prepare a good, transparent budget. And appears to me that the process of adoption and preparation follows the policies that we put in place, so that there's greater transparency and ability for commissioners to be involved in the decisions affecting the finances of this agency. So here it is right here. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we had an extra week to take a look at it and ask questions. So thank you, Stacy, for that good work. And I feel very comfortable supporting this budget, Mr. President.
Thank you, Vice President Fielder. Additional discussion? I would echo the words of my colleague, Vice President Fielder. The thing I would start with is exactly what Vice President Fielder said. Today's action is the result of a deliberative process on the part of the agency to make our budget more transparent for the ratepayers of the state of Montana. I would note that the decision of the agency to go to a siloed travel budget for commissioner travel was the product of a deliberate decision on the part of the agency, and was done in response to the prior fiscal year audit, where we have now set up a system where each commissioner is assigned an equal amount of budget authority to use for travel, and can use that travel with the approval of either the president or the vice president, and may not use greater than the budgeted amount, which addresses some of the concern I think that was raised by the legislature during the 2021 session. That system has worked well since we implemented it. last year and will benefit the agency. I would also note in conjunction with the last matter that we discussed that the agency is running in a very fiscally responsible and prudent manner. We are, as noted, returned money back to the ratepayers, if you will, as a result of coming in under budget for the last fiscal year. And the budget that we are now going to adopt shows that we will be working within the budget allocated by the legislature, despite and in addition to our substantial capital project, the Ready Project. So I will be voting for budget approval. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Vice President's motion to adopt the budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Lichauer. All right, let's move to work session item number 3. This is docket 2023.08.070, the Haver Pipeline Company. This is to act on an interim order for natural gas service rates. We're here to consider approving an interim order for a 25.7% decrease in Haver Pipelines Company's natural gas service rates for its direct rural farmstead customers. Ms. Webster, Ms. Webster, are you handling this matter? All right, Joel.
Morning, Mr. President. This is the annual Haver Pipeline filing. It's our annual gas tracker adjustment, basically, that affects the 80 customers in the Haver Pipeline area. These customers are served basically off the gathering system that's up in that area. This year's request amounts to 25.7% decrease, which in comparison to last year was an 89.5% increase. Staff has done the necessary analysis and recommends that the commission approve this on an interim basis and on to a final basis after that.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Panochi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to support staff recommendations. Thank you.
Oh, hold on. I'll second the motion. So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Webster. And I think the motion probably subsumes that request.
Mr. President, I think it does because the staff recommendation is written to issue the proposed interim order with appropriate clerical edits.
Very good. All right, we have a motion and second. Commissioner Panochi.
It's always great to see a decrease in price. There was a lot of concern about water in the gas line. Do we know if that's improved at all?
Commissioner Panochi, I think that's going to be an ongoing continuous problem. I think Northwestern tries to address that, but these customers are aware of that because they're on a special tariff. I know they put dehydrators and do what they can but they're never going to be the same as the normal Northwestern customer and NDU customer because it's not gas, transmission quality gas. So I think they do their best to address that, but the customers are aware that can happen.
Joel, can you pull the mic up to him?
Oh, sure.
With the large rate increase that they had months ago, we were hoping there'd be some investment in improving maybe some dryers that could be put in the line. Do you think they've put some filtration in to take some more water out, or do you think the problem is improved, or is it just the same?
I can't speak for Tina. I don't believe we've gotten a lot of complaints. I think they address it on a case by case basis. I don't believe that they're trying to address it on a total customer basis. I was looking back the other day when I started doing this a number of years ago, there was roughly 125 customers and now they're down to 80 customers. So their customers are
decreasing.
slowly dropping off the system and converting to some other form of energy with the realization that that's going to happen.
Well, thank you.
You bet.
Additional comments or discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Commissioner Pinocchi's motion to approving an interim order for a decrease and to make clerical edits as necessary before issuing the order, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Seeing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, staff. All right, I would note for the record at this point, the next commission business meeting will be Tuesday, September 26, 2023. However, I would note that there will be a time change from our regularly scheduled 9:30 a.m. Hour. We will be starting at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, September 26, 2023. Again, 11 a.m. Tuesday, September 26, 2023.
Mr. President, a point of personal privilege before you adjourn if.
Sure.
This is what happens when you start naming people and thanking people, you leave somebody out. And I am remiss that I left out our IT department who have been right at the center of Ready and making it work. So thank you to Patricia and Philip and also our new IT systems lead, Tracy Yorstead. So thank you.
All right. Seeing no further business to come before the commission, the time is now 9:56 a.m. I will adjourn today's meeting.